Welcome to the Jeddah Street Circuit for what we hope is going to be a gripping day of racing. It's time to get underway as we join the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. An interesting circuit this one, the newest on the Formula One calendar, and like most street circuits, it's sure to present the drivers with an interesting technical challenge. Some challenging turns for the drivers to negotiate as well, and at the same time they're going to have to manage their tyres very carefully in this heat. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn one. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap. So always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Norris, Daniel Ricciardo, and Gasly, Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Sainz, and Yuki Tsunoda, Ocon, Vettel, Lance Stroll, and Giovinazzi, Russell, Raikkonen, Mick Schumacher, and Nicholas Latifi. Mazepin and Lewis Hamilton rounds off the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Welcome one and all to a last and first challenge versus the 110 AI. It's a 100% race around the new Jeddah Corniche Circuit, and it is lights out and away we go, starting with the back of the grid. The only driver opting for the medium tyres. We head down towards turn. It's been a pretty good getaway considering we're on that sort of alternate tyre going with the mediums. Down in turn, we gained 3 positions already on the 2 Hasses, and Nicholas Latifi trying to go round the outside of Kimi Raikkonen now as we head down towards turn number 4. Giovinazzi and Russell battling just at the road. We break a little bit later than Kimi, getting ahead, and we have to get into single file now to work our way into this very difficult first sector. Very flowing and sort of really awkward to follow, especially on that opening lap as we now head, trying to get out of it as we go through turns 10, 11 and then 12, and heading down towards turn number 13. There's a little battle going up the road, already a little gap forming between Fernando Alonso and Daniel Ricciardo in 6th and 7th. Down in towards turn 13, we're going to go round the outside of George Russell and Antonio Giovinazzi. That's 2 places there. Now we're onto the back of the Aston Martin of Lance Stroll, trying to go completely around the outside course. The Mercedes downforce helping out with that. But on the medium tyres, I was quite surprised we were able to go around the outside of 2 drivers. And that was a fantastic move. And now we're going to move on down the straight course where DRS normally is. On the back of Lance Stroll, looking to make maybe darts out. We have to back out of that one. We're maybe trying to think about a move on the Aston Martin down into turn number 22 and 23. What this has done is set us back a little bit, and we can really attack through this chicane as they're too wide out in front. 5 cars battling away in front of us. What can we do to try and get past them? There's 2 Aston Martins, 2 Ferraris and an Alpine. We'll go to the inside. When that gap opens up as Sebastian Vettel sort of takes the natural line, we're going to go to the inside. We're up the inside of 3 cars, challenging the 2 Ferraris into turn 27. They get a much better line around the outside of us, and we have to tuck in behind just for the time being. That's 3 cars down to turn 27. We flick though to the outside as we head down the straight. It's almost 3 at best, the 2 Ferraris and myself. Who can get down to turn 1 quickest? Who's going to be latest on the brake? We're going to try and go round the outside of the pair of them, and that is 11 cars overtaken in 1 lap. Absolutely over the moon. Fantastic stuff. And now we can try and reel in Tsunoda and Alonso 2.5 seconds up the road, and that's exactly what we did. Coming on to the start of lap number 5, our medium's really starting to get up to temperature. DRS open. We're going to go round the outside of Yuki Tsunoda. The Ferraris are still battling in the background, giving him space on the inside. And of course, then it switches to the inside for us for turn number 2. And we can now chase after Fernando Alonso in the Alpine. So trying to come back at us, we just shut the door into turn number 4. No messing about there. And we need to try and reel him in. Make sure the 2 Red Bulls and our teammate don't get too far up the road. But onto the start of lap number 6. We are ahead now of Fernando Alonso down to someone a little bit more of a simpler move this time around. And Pierre Gasly and Daniel Ricciardo are our next targets. And exactly what, even with DRS, we're on the back of Pierre Gasly, looking to go round his outside into the final corner. And Pierre Gasly holding inside, but we're not having any of it. Going to go round his outside. And we get DRS off Ricciardo as well to help us defend. So no attack there from the AlphaTauri. Down in towards turn number 1. Through the chicane now. on the following lap number 7, on the back of Danny Rick, the Australian, the Honey Badger. DRS wide open once more, and again, what's going to be a relatively simple move. Look and try to go around the outside. We need good straight line speed with that Mercedes engine. Can we go a little bit later on the brakes? Not quite. He's going to have that inside line. He's going to hold it against us. We do get DRS though because of that sort of poor exit. And it makes it a relatively simple move. Down in towards turn number 1. Pushing on with our teammate who seemed to have a few issues in the early phase of the race. Dropping back from the front guys. Not too sure what's going on there with Valtteri. DRS, potentially a few gremlins in that Mercedes. Blinked to the outside as he went quite aggressively defensive to the inside. And we're going to get ahead before the corner. And all smooth sailing as we make our way into turn 27. We can push on after Norris and then Perez up the road. But a new strategy from Jeff. And he's dropping us the goods because the 2-stop is the sort of recommended and normal round here. We're going to see what he has to offer. And Jeff suggesting the 1-stop for lap 28 rather than coming in for the 2. And that is what we are going to go with. Try that sort of alternative strategy. Try and stretch the tyres that little bit longer as we're chasing after Lando Norris. That's exactly what we did. Come to the start of lap number 12 in the wheel tracks. DRS wide open. We're going to go for the inside this time around. A little bit later on the brakes. Almost a replica. So that same style move as Brazil. But Norris holding it on the inside for the second part. We're going to try and get the better exit round the outside. Now it's drag goes down towards turn number 4. And we're going to have the high ground on the inside. Get the elbows out. And we get ahead of the McLaren. We're up into P3 on track. Currently 8 seconds off Perez. 11.5 seconds off Max Verstappen. And have a clear air to work in towards. Can we reel them in as their softs start to die out? And our mediums become the more preferable tyre in this race. Of course, we're thinking those guys are 2-stopping. And the current plan for us is to 1-stop. Hopefully we can sort of come against the strategy that kind of way. You see Verstappen on lap 18 has pitted, and Sergio Perez coming into the pits on this lap as well. But Esteban Ocon is out of the session. He has retired up at the sort of hairpin, the banked hairpin corner, and we're now promoted into the lead of this race. Fast lap as well for us. And so far the medium's coming good so far, but first Max Verstappen really reeling us in. You can see 1.7 seconds, 1.6 now is the gap between ourselves and the Dutchman. Our teammate Bottas is out of the race. He's had a few gremlins in that Mercedes so far. We've seen able to overtake him pretty easily, and actually reel him in pretty easily as well. You'd hoping he'd be up in the battle with the Red Bulls, but not going his way today. A few gremlins causing some issues there. But on lap 21, Verstappen is right behind us, you can see there, and was pushing us through 25 and 26 down to 27. Max Verstappen's going to go around the outside with wheels towards a drag race down to 37. The Red Bull, the DRS, and the Merc can't quite keep up with him. But of course, there's going to be DRS for us on the run down towards turn 1, but fresh softs versus weak mediums, and he's going to get the jump on us, making that gap 0.5 of a second. And even with overtaking able, so we're running out of deployable energy after really trying to push and keep ahead of him, because this is the race for us. Looking to maybe go around the outside, but there's no move there. Verstappen locking up into turn 1, but again, no way through just yet. And we're going to go on board in a second, and through this middle sector, we just can't, through the first sector, we just can't keep with him. We didn't go on board. I got the camera was mixed up there, but nevertheless, on lap 28, it is our time to pit. Max Verstappen has pulled a 5-second lead. We're going to have to try the undercut, putting on the soft compound tyres for the first time for us. So we've gone green and green, so the pace is still pretty good considering how old the mediums are. We've gone almost 60% of the way into this race. Got to be careful on the old pit entry. I've seen a few glitches with the sort of getting corner cutting for pit entry and pit exit into the pit lane for a set of brand new soft tyres. And we're going to jump back out. Coming out ahead of the McLaren of Lando Norris. And just about, you might be able to see him on the left-hand side of the screen in a moment's time. Yeah, there he is in the background. We're ahead of him, so it's a straight fight between us and the Red Bulls. Coming out, of course, on the exit on the mid part of turn number 2. And now it's time to put the hammer down as we chase down Perez and Verstappen, trying to sort of make the undercut work effectively. Both of them still having to make their final stop. As you come on to lap 30, this is going to be a sort of an on-board lap of us around this circuit. Down in towards turn number 4 on the fresh softs. Throw the car in, having a lot more confidence than we did on the mediums, a lot more grip to play with, a lot more mechanical grip. And see, now we can really attack these corners and treat them as one flowing section. Of course, the mediums on the high fuel load was very difficult. Of course, running over 100 kilos at the start of the race. But just having these soft tyres and burning the fuel load, you can really feel the difference. Finding a second in the first sector on our previous best. Antonio Giovinazzi going to very nicely get away on the inside, and we're going to sweep around his outside. And really starting to reel in Perez and Verstappen up the road. Into the next chicane, drop it down into 4th gear, of course using 5th in sort of that quali TT kind of setup. and now racing with overtake enabled as we're trying to go for a fast lap. We're trying to make the impact early on before these guys come for their pit stops in about 4 or 5 laps time. We need to be making the difference. We need to be making the inroads now. Dropping down to 5th gear again, rather than 6th, we're going to get higher, just about keeping it within track limits there on the left front. See if we can try and close up to the Haas car. I think that is in front for a little helping hand of DRS to help us on our way, rather than sort of getting to him in sort of the awkward part of the first sector. But it's a good final corner for us, and we're just about going to DRS is going to help us with our fastest lap push. As we come across the line, it is going to be a 1 minute 30.491, and again we've pulled in about just over about a second and a half on Max and Perez up the road, so that's crucial for us as we're trying to make these inroads now, so we get track position for a little bit later on, because I think it could be close with ourselves and the Red Bull. And pushing on, of course, behind us, both McLarens ahead of us, both Red Bulls, but the race is definitely in front with the 2 Red Bulls flying through this middle first sector once more. Mercedes really think good, the setup really think good. Again, if you're interested in maybe using this setup, it's the same one we used in the 2 previous videos. In the last 2 days, we're definitely doing a bit of theme here at Jeddah Circuit. I really am enjoying this. Another purple first sector for us. Again, the car just coming alive, the car coming to us, and we're really making the inroads on the 2 Red Bulls in front. But it's so good. It's one of the first 100% races I think I've done on this game. And God, this Mercedes around this circuit feels amazing. The setup really working well. And you can see it works in the time trial. It works in the 100% race. So that's, you know, hopefully you enjoy the setup too. If it's something you've given a go, if you've seen the whole up and setup video, if you've seen the guide. But it's another purple sector for us, really pushing on. I just wanted to show this this section of the race because the car does feel fantastic. Well, we're on our own. We're using all of the overtake available to us. Excuse me there. But purple, back-to-back purple. As you come into the final corner of this lap, jump on the power, and towards the line, we're going to try and go for that fastest lap attempt. Run towards the line, it's going to be a 1 minute 30.455. Back-to-back fastest laps, just about, losing a little bit of time in the final sector. As you move on to lap 35, so when predicted, Verstappen will be coming in. On the exit now, we're literally wheel to wheel on the exit, just slotting ahead of our Dutch rival, and that's how important it was to really be pushing straight at the pit lane. So we've now got track position over the Red Bull man. Of course, Perez, 8 seconds behind his teammates, so he can be 8 seconds behind us when he comes out the pit lane, so not too much to worry about Perez. It was all about Verstappen right behind us. Again, the AI is so good at following. You see on the top left of your screen, he's within 0.2 of a second of us coming out of there. DRS scores enabled for Max Verstappen. He goes to the outside and he's clean ahead of us before we get down towards turn number 13, despite being on the slower mediums. You know, our soft still yielding good grip. Even sort of, what are we now, sort of 7 laps into the race, into this stint, and towards the end they were still doing that as well. Tyler, not too bad around Jeddah, sort of surprisingly, despite the high demanding corners. But now we're the car on the attack, we're the car in the slipstream, and we're able to attack, of course, being unrealistic. The Merc having that pace over the Red Bull down the straight. It goes to sector 2, it goes to sector 3, and the advantage swings our way, even when almost we're ahead. But with DRS, it is even more so. In the slipstream, DRS is going to be wide open, and we're challenging Max Verstappen down into the final corner. He's going to cover the inside, we're going to go to the outside. It's almost a role reversal of what happened earlier in this race. He needs to slot in behind. That is actually a carbon copy, but the opposite way around of what happened earlier in this race. Good exit for us, but not as good as Verstappen. He able to stick with us, and we got 0.4 of a second. Can he challenge down to a turn 1? We haven't used all of our overtake to try and keep ahead. Perez into the pit lane as well. Max, is he going to think about a lunch? Not on this occasion. We've seen him send it down then inside a fair few times so far at Jeddah, in real life and in the race. But nevertheless, into the final corner we go once again, and Verstappen going around the outside down there. And of course, now where the DRS detection point is in the game, it's actually after the final corner on that line there. And the advantage will go to our way. DRS wide open now. As we're right behind him, it's going to be a relatively easy move. No overtake needed, in my opinion. We're going to go wheel to wheel with him down in towards turn 1 on lap 37. 13 laps left in this race. Wheel to wheel, we have the grip on the soft tyres, and we do move ahead of our rival. And again, it's another replica of what happened on the last lap. Verstappen's going to go around the outside into the final corner. We do our best to keep with him now, because it's all about the first sector. If we can nail the first sector, we can try and get ahead before the DRS zones. DRS wide open. Attacking the Dutch driver. Gone for overtake again this time. It's again on the outside for us. Can we get clean ahead into turn 1? Yes, we can this time around. We had the better run on him, and we can really take our line through turn 1. Nice and aggressive on the switchback. And you can see on lap 38, Max still on the back. I love a heli cam shots. I had to get this shot in the final video. It's so good to show that Red Bull doing really well to stick with us through these demanding corners, and then of course the DRS advantage switched to him. The gap half a second sort of before that detection point. You can see how much it comes down. The DRS so powerful with the slipstream. Max looks to the outside. We're going to try and hold him though, sort of run him a little bit wide if we can, keep hold of the position. And now with the dosage of overtake on ourselves, can we defend against the driver, or will that DRS just be too powerful? We're going to hug the inside, and he's going to unfortunately slot ahead of us before we get to the braking zone of turn number 1. But right behind him. Can we keep with him like he has been doing with us through this first sector? Only one way to find out. We're going to do our absolute best, because of course it's imperative that we keep within these DRS ranges and we keep putting him under pressure to try and find a way through, because we need to try and break this second duct we have against him. Some fantastic camera angles going through this lap. Later, a little bit later on, lap 39, looking to go around the outside as we cross the line. It'll be 10 laps to go in this race. Late on the brakes against Max, and we're going to try and nail the exit, and we absolutely do. But Max again is right on our tail. We can't seem to shake the Dodge driver. We're pulling away from Perez at a rate is not. We're both battling. Look to try and we weren't sure which way to go there. Ended up in the middle of the track. Max can go around our outside, and we have to sort of concede the position. We tuck in behind the Red Bull once again. But it's the exact same thing. We're going to get him down into turn number 27. It's a great race of sort of the overtake or be overtaken each one. Max aggressively darts to the inside and holds the position. This gives us DRS down towards turn number 1. This is crucial for our race. It's going to be quite a comfortable move down towards turn number 1. And now we're ahead. We have the advantage. And in my mind now, I'm thinking, let's nail the first sector. We need to be super aggressive in this first sector to really try and do our best to break that second against him. And you can see getting a really good exit out of turn number 2. Into turn 4. Fourth, getting nice and tight on the inside wall and really pushing the car, really pushing these softs to all they can go. Almost ignoring overtake, because we just want to get the gap as big as it can possibly be. 8 tenths of a second now, almost 9 tenths of a second. He will be getting DRS, but it's a purple first sector for us, crucial in our fight to try and get ahead of that second through the turn 13, which I struggle against the AI. And not losing too much time for Verstappen, again, crucial. Into the fast burning chicane just before the next sort of straight, really pushing the exit as much as we dare. And you can see on the top left of your screen, we have got a better exit, and we're using all of our overtake. We want to break that second. The Mercedes is quicker in a straight line. We know that. I think I'm running a little bit lower sort of aero than he is as well compared to the AI. But throwing it in, we are over a second up on Verstappen, and that is absolutely crucial. We've finally broken the second sort of barrier. Still using our overtake. We're trying to, doesn't matter if we drain it, because we break that second. I think we can stay ahead just because of the straight line speed advantage of the Mercedes. Into the final corner we go, and it's now 1.6 seconds, really demanding a lot from those rear tyres to try and keep ahead. And as we cross the line, it's going to be the fastest lap of the race as 1 minute 29.805. First person into the 29s. And so we pulled it a second a bit on Max. As we move later on, it's the final lap of the Grand Prix. We kept ahead, we kept putting the hammer down, keeping the gap just under 3 seconds now, and it's going to be another fastest lap of 10.4 as we throw it into turn number 4, demanding a lot from the tyres, which the tyre weight isn't that bad, so they're still performing. Of course, the lowest the fuel load has been in this race, getting a nice line using all the track and curbs available to us as we work our way through this first sector. Overtake enabled, and it's almost 3 tenths of a second found in that first sector line, down in towards the big hairpin we go now, still putting a little bit of time on Max, using all the track as well on the exit, getting a nice drive out of the corner into this first sort of fast chicane, throwing the car in, using all the curb on the exit and running as wide as we dare, almost brushing the wall there. An overtake is up and enabled as we're looking to try and find a purple middle sector, and we absolutely do. Almost 4 tenths of a second improvement for us overall, and that is a shocking chicane, but we're still going to send it. First warning of the race. Quite impressive if consider how sort of easy it is to run wide on some of these sort of fast going corners. Into the final corner we go, heavy on the brakes. Getting the car started into third, nice and tight on the inside. Run it wide right up to the wall and to the line. That is going to be a win from last on the grid against the 110 AI around the new Jeddah Corniche Circuit. It's 29.467 to finish out the race.
Absolutely awesome, just amazing. Well,
I couldn't have said it better myself. Absolutely awesome. What a track this is. What a race that was. And driver of the day as well. I mean, what more can you want? It's the sort of the alternate hat trick. So rather than starting last time.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
Well, Crofty, this was won through an abundance of speed and an abundance of skillful overtakes. Inside, outside, cutting underneath, we saw it all today. And it's really nice to see a Grand Prix won in that manner. A race, surely, that will satisfy the purists today, I think.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team. And they certainly deserve it.
I hope you enjoyed that one. It was a fantastic race to do myself, really taking the fight to the 110 for the first time for me. A track that's really suited me well. But I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you see some more league racing videos soon. Hope you enjoyed the few Saudi videos as well. See everyone soon.